have to pay for every belt that you win, there's a sanctioning fee. So now if a fighter wins an interim belt, he has to pay a sanctioning fee. If a fighter has just the regular belt, he has to pay a sanctioning fee. Then if a fighter is a super champion, then he has to pay a sanctioning fee. This is not good for the sport of boxing.
Y'all see them though.
The undisputed king of boxing has just been robbed. Less than 3 months after Terence "Bud" Crawford did the impossible and dethroned Canelo Alvarez to become the face of the sport, he was stripped of his title. He didn't lose it in the ring. He didn't get knocked out. He lost it because he refused to pay a ransom. The World Boxing Council demanded a staggering $300,000 sanctioning fee from Crawford just to let him keep the green belt he had already won. When Crawford said no, they stripped him instantly. But what makes this story truly explosive isn't just the money, it's the reaction from the rest of the boxing world.
I'm firmly on Terence Crawford's side on this one. What do they do? Like, someone needs to tell me what they do. Because ultimately, again, the commission do the majority of things in terms of you put a fight in Vegas, it'll be the Nevada State Athletic Commission, they will appoint the judges. I mean, one thing they do, I guess, is that clean boxing program thing with VADA. But I'm pretty sure, and I stand to be corrected, that it's the fighters that pay for that as well. So what do they do, people, that they think that they can just go and take a percentage of a fighter's purse? Nah. And look, the green and gold belt is, obviously it's very prestigious. For me, it's the best belt in boxing. I sometimes kind of battle with that in the Ring magazine belt. But that doesn't mean you can just take the piss. It really doesn't mean you can do whatever you want to do, that you can just make up a percentage, that you can ask for a fighter for a percentage of their purse. No. And all this as well, like, this thing, like, surely before a fight, if you are going to take a percentage, surely that has to be written down, contract, lawyered up. Like, I'm surprised if you, that's why it's even more crazy. It's the wild, wild west. Like, surely if this is the percentage you're going to take from Crawford, it's okay, Crawford, you know, in order to have this undisputed fight, which is very prestigious, this is the percentage we're taking from you. And Crawford signs it off before the fight's even done. In fact, before his purse is even given to him, that percentage is already removed. The fact that you are waiting on Crawford just to pay you, big WBC for me is wild within itself.
While Crawford is going scorched earth on social media, threatening to expose the entire system, another terrifying fighter has just weighed in with a response that is chilling in its simplicity. Isaac Pitbull Cruz, the man who fights like he has a personal vendetta against every opponent, was asked about the scandal, and his answer exposes the dark, unspoken reality of boxing politics that fans are never supposed to see.
Terence Crawford had an issue with the WBC this morning. They stripped him at 168 pounds. He was complaining about sanctioning fees and things like that. Just what are your thoughts on that whole issue?
¿Cuál es tu opinión de lo que pasó con Terence Crawford por la mañana, que lo dejaron sin el cinturón de la CMB por no pagar la tarifa del cinturón?
Bueno, es algo que se tiene que cumplir, como el protocolo de antidopaje con VADA, pero bueno, él sabrá por qué no quiso pagar.
To understand why Pitbull's reaction is so significant, you first have to understand the level of disrespect Crawford just faced. This wasn't a polite email exchange. This was a war. On December 3rd, the news broke that the WBC had officially removed Crawford as the super middleweight champion. Crawford didn't wait for a press release. He went straight to Instagram Live, and he was furious. In a rant that is already legendary, he looked directly into the camera and sent a message to WBC President Mauricio Sulaiman. He said, "Who do you think I am? You'd better slap yourself."
Him $300,000 plus another 100K something for sanction fees, right? Then he gonna tell me I ain't even apologize? Like, who the fuck you think I am? Boy, you better slap your fucking self. Ain't paying your ass shit. Fuck you talking about pay you $300,000. What makes you so motherfucking better than any of the other sanctioned bodies? Huh? Answer that question. What makes you better than the WBO, the IBF, or the WBA? Everybody accepted what I was giving them. But you, the WBC, think that you better than everybody, don't you? So since you, the WBC, and you got the fucking green belt, which don't mean fucking shit. The fucking real belt is the ring belt, which is free.
Crawford revealed that the WBC wanted him to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars essentially for the privilege of carrying their leather strap. He refused. He told them, "I ain't paying you nothing." He argued that he offered them a fair fee, the same amount other organizations like the IBF and WBO were happy to accept. But the WBC got greedy. They wanted more. And when the pound-for-pound king refused to be extorted, they took his crown. This leads us to the argument that is tearing the sport apart. Crawford's main point during his explosion was simple but devastating. We are getting taxed.
That don't even make sense. I'm the motherfucker that's putting my life on the line, not you. You ain't stepping your motherfucking ass in that ring. You or nobody else. You or nobody else. So why should I have to pay to carry your belt? You should be paying me. If you want to be truthful, you should be paying me. I don't see it irks my nerves how this dude gets on a plane, gets a hotel suite. Him and his buddies, they go out to dinner, 5-star meals, all that, you know, and guess who gotta pay for it? Us fighters. We paying for y'all to come out here, have the time of y'all life, stay in the best hotels of y'all life, and it's all done on our dime. It's done on our dime. Do that sound right to y'all? It's crazy, ain't it? We the one out there getting battered, knocked upside our head, and every time we step foot in the ring, we gotta pay them a sanction fee like they the government. We getting taxed. It's crazy.
Think about it. The fighters are the ones risking their lives. They are the ones taking the punches, cutting the weight, and risking permanent brain damage every time they step through those ropes. Meanwhile, the sanctioning body officials, the guys in suits who never take a hit, are using these massive fees to fly first class, stay in 5-star hotels, and eat steak dinners on the fighter's dime. Crawford called the green belt a trophy. He pointed out that the prestigious Ring Magazine belt, which signifies the true lineal champion, is completely free. It's a symbol of greatness, not a receipt for payment. By pointing this out, Crawford is doing something dangerous. He's telling the world that the alphabet belts we obsess over might actually be worthless scams designed to drain the fighters' bank accounts.
We made a very clear 0.6%, which is $300,000, with $225,000 going to the Jose Sulaiman Boxers Fund, which is to help former fighters in need. And it is just regrettable. Not even a thank you or I'm sorry, taking a different route, no response. I wish him the best. But this is not. The WBC is huge, it's great, it's about greatness, and I'm relieved.
So where does Pitbull Cruz fit into this mess? Cruz is currently in the middle of his own fight week, preparing to defend his title against Lamont Roach Jr. When reporters caught up with him, they expected him to perhaps back Crawford up, or maybe lash out at the system. Instead, Cruz gave the most soldier-like response imaginable. He didn't scream, he didn't complain, he looked at the reporter and simply said, "We have to pay." It was a cold, pragmatic reality check. Cruz admitted that he respects Crawford's opinion, but for him and his team, this is just the cost of doing business. He said, "We stay clear of that drama." To Cruz, the fees are just another obstacle, like a southpaw stance or a bad referee. You don't complain about it, you just deal with it and move forward. This creates a fascinating split in the boxing world. You have Crawford, the rebel king, willing to burn the system down to save his money and his pride. And then you have Cruz, the disciplined soldier who accepts it.
Mauricio, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Because everybody in the world know you was going for Canelo. You was mad that I beat Canelo. It's okay. It happens, you know? But if you a real fan of the sport, you would have, you know, said congratulations instead of having that little smirk on your face, all mad and pouting. But listen though, you should have took the money and you should have been thankful and grateful that I was rocking your belt around as your champion. As your champion, the WBC champion. The undisputed champion at that. But you want to make it about you. You want to say, oh, well, you stripped me. Like, I've been stripped before. The IBF just stripped me when I was at 147. Doesn't matter. I'm still considered the undisputed champion. I'm still the champion in the division. Because you know why? The only belt that's recognizable as the champion is the ring belt, baby. That's the #1 belt in the division. That trumps all belts.
But Crawford's rant went deeper than just money. He dropped a heavy accusation that hints at major corruption at the top of the WBC. He explicitly claimed that Mauricio Sulaiman was mad that he beat Canelo Alvarez. Here is the double standard that has everyone talking. Canelo held that same WBC belt for 2 years. For 2 years, he refused to fight his mandatory challenger, David Benavidez. The WBC did nothing. They let Canelo keep the belt, keep the fame, and keep the money. Yet the moment Crawford wins the belt and refuses to pay an inflated fee, he is stripped immediately. Crawford asked the question everyone is thinking: why are the rules different for him? It suggests that the sanctioning bodies aren't neutral referees. They are businesses that protect their favorite cash cows and punish anyone who doesn't fall in line.
Now, since Canelo is no longer a belt holder coming into his next fight, a fight that's still expected to make a lot of money due to Canelo's popularity and ongoing contract with Riyadh season, this means that for the first time in 7 years, not a single sanctioning body will benefit from Canelo's earnings. So the sooner Canelo becomes champion again, the better for them. But for the time being, they'll have to rely on Terence Crawford as their sanctioning fee provider. These sanctioning bodies make a lot of money from Canelo being their champion. Like, why did you think there wasn't any pressure coming from them when Benavidez was Canelo's mandatory? It's because if Canelo lost, then they'll have to rely on Benavidez and his $7 million purses. And if they decide to bully and pressure Canelo, and Canelo says, you know what, screw it, and decides to vacate the belt instead, then it's the same thing. They lose the benefit of a Canelo payday.
Pitbull Cruz didn't just talk about fees though. In the same interview, he touched on another subject that paints a grim picture of modern boxing: the normalization of cheating. He was asked about rival champion Subriel Matias, who recently tested positive for the banned substance Ostarine. Cruz's reaction to this was far more emotional than his reaction to the fees. He condemned the sport for being too lenient, saying that drug violations are becoming normalized.
Subriel Matias tested positive for Ostarine. He's the WBC champion. You guys are fighting for the interim. WBC gave him like a year probation. He's still facing that guy Smith in like a month or so. Just what are your thoughts on that he tested positive and no, they're not taking the belt. Doesn't seem to be really facing any consequences. What's your thoughts on that?
Bueno, ¿qué opinas de la falta de consecuencias ante la situación de Subriel Matías, que dio positivo de Ostarina? La Comisión Mundial de Boxeo le dio un probation de un año, pero más allá de eso, él sigue peleando dentro de un mes, no parece que pasa nada. ¿Qué opinas?
Pues es algo que ya no se vuelve limpio y creo que deben de tomar cartas en el asunto para ya ser más estrictos en esta parte, porque al final del día se está convirtiendo ya algo normal que cualquier boxeador lo esté haciendo. Igual con Jenny Beck ya salió igual con la misma o probablemente con la misma dosis, entonces ya tiene que haber alguna sanción más fuerte y ya no debe de haber ningún tipo de porcentaje de tolerancia.
Connect the dots here. On one hand, you have a sport that will strip a legendary champion like Crawford instantly over a dispute about money. On the other hand, you have fighters popping for PED, and the reaction is often slow and bureaucratic. Cruz wants zero tolerance for drugs because that actually hurts people. But the sanctioning bodies seem far more interested in zero tolerance for late payments. It proves where their priorities really lie, not with the fighter's safety, but with the fighter's wallet.
It's free! How you love that? $180,000 free. How much your belt cost? I wonder, how much your belt cost? Huh? I don't see no receipts on your belt. It's crazy. Y'all be having so much taxes on these belts. You got some nerves. It's crazy that you can sit up there and have all these belts. You know, you got the WBC silver, the WBA intern, the whatever belt y'all got, and you taxing these fighters every time they fight, and you claim that you for these fighters. You're not for these fighters. You probably worse than the promoters. But hey, I wish you the best, you know? I wish you the best, you and your company.
So what happens now? The WBC has tried to move on quickly. They ordered a fight between Hamza Shiraz and Christian Mbili to fill the vacant spot. They want to crown a new champion as fast as possible to make everyone forget that the real champion is still sitting there, undefeated. But even that plan is falling apart. Reports are already coming out that negotiations for the Shiraz versus Mbili fight are stalling. The belt is in limbo. It has lost its value. By stripping Crawford, the WBC didn't hurt Crawford's legacy. They hurt their own. Now, whoever picks up that green belt will know they didn't beat the man to get it. They just paid the fee that the man refused to pay.
We made a very clear 0.6%, which is $300,000, with $225,000 going to the Jose Sulaiman Boxers Fund, which is to help former fighters in need. And it is just regrettable. Not even a thank you or I'm sorry, taking a different route. No response. I wish him the best. But this is not. The WBC is huge, it's great, it's about greatness, and I'm relieved.
Now Terence Crawford has drawn a line in the sand, proving that he doesn't need a sanctioning body to validate his greatness. Isaac Cruz has shown us the other side, the grim acceptance that to survive in this sport, you sometimes have to pay the tax. It leaves us with a question that might change the future of the sport. If the fans know who the best fighter is, and the Ring magazine belt is free, why do we still let these organizations charge millions of dollars for a piece of green leather? Crawford just proved he's willing to walk away. If more fighters follow him, the whole system could collapse.
The president of the WBC, Mauricio Suleiman, does have a point, because historically it's always been 3%. That's what the fighters play, and that is what it is, and that's what it's always been. Obviously, a fight of this magnitude, which was being billed as fighters of the century, $50 million allegedly he got paid for that one. They don't want to take 3% off him. They said let's do 0.6%, which is $300,000. So I understand it, and that's just the way the system is. Don't tell me he's not paid the WBC sanction fees before, because he must have. But now what he's saying is, I don't want to pay that, because I want to, the Ring magazine are the ones that have got it right. The Ring magazine obviously is one of the most historic belts and is considered the number one of the 4-belt era, the Ring magazine, but they don't charge. So that's where he's at, and that's the point he's making. But then how did the WBC then make their money if they don't make commissions off? It's like everyone charges for everything. All the other sanctioning bodies would have charged him as well, whatever that was. So
it would appear to me that if there's 5 sanctioning bodies, which would have been the WBC, WBA, the IBF, the WBO, and the Ring magazine, that's why it's 0.6%. Because if you divide 3% by 5, you get 0.6%. I have very little respect for the WBC and the way they operate. I have very little respect for Mauricio Suleiman. I think they're a hypocritical, disingenuous organisation. But I don't think there's anything fundamentally wrong with what he said there. And if it is indeed the deployment of those funds go to the well-being of fighters, we can't have an industry that constantly talks about the need to look after its own, And then when it gets to the top end of the tree, the top end doesn't want to pay it down.
What do you think? Was Crawford right to keep his $300,000 and throw the belt in the trash? Or should he have just paid the fee to keep history intact? So that's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comment section. Stay tuned, and we will catch you in the next video.